Welcome friends, to this video we're going to be painting an egg. We're going to keep this simple to really learn the basics of rendering, and the reason that we're going to do an egg is to really get a foundation of how you would do this similar with a face. So the egg has one flat plane, and so learning some of the egg features will teach you how to shade the face. So let's go ahead and, well, I have a reference here, and this is the egg we're going to do. If you want, you can do the proportions. Here I'm going to look at the aspect ratio, which I have 275 by 183. Since this is low res, I'm going to multiply that by 4. And then here in Procreate, I have a new canvas. I'm going to do 1100 by 732. All right, now, if I come up here to the wrench and I choose canvas, and then I choose reference, turn that on, go to image, and I will choose out image. Now one thing that's nice about this tool is you can actually color pick straight from this image, but I'm going to avoid doing that to challenge me to try to pick the colors from observation. All right, first thing I'm going to look at this and pick a baseline color, because that's what we're going to draw off. On digital, it's really throws you off if you're starting from white. So I'm going to pick a tan. I think it was the tan, close to the tan I picked, but maybe a little bit lighter. Yeah, something like that. All right, so that's going to be my foundation. And then I'm going to do this in layers, and then eventually I'll group those layers or flatten those layers together. All right, so the bottom one is a little bit darker, so let's find a darker color here. And I will do the second bottom half here. I think it needs to be a little bit darker than that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then also I see on the edge here, there's kind of a orange highlight. So let's do that. We're gonna blur that as well. So I'm gonna come up here to the Gaussian blur, because I can tell that it is kind of a blurry background. So we're gonna blur that. All right, now we can kind of start doing in the, well, actually, I'm still going to work on the background. So now I'm going to work on these scratches in the wood mark. Let's add some texture here. So I'll do another layer, and I'm just going to pick out the pencil, the larger pencil. I'm going to do white, and I'm just going to do a bunch of zags here. All right, and then I will cut this part. Okay, so I'm going to select the top portion here, and then I'm going to choose feather, and I'm going to feather that a little bit, and then blur that portion as well. Yeah, about like that, because you can see the background's blurred. But I'm also going to add a layer, and I'm going to color over the top of that. Okay, and then select this portion again, cut that. All right, I think I kind of like the way the table is there. Although we're going to bring that line up there so it's blurred on top. Okay. So now let's go ahead and start with our egg. I am going to do a soft brush with white, And I'm going to make an ellipse. Yeah. About like this. Move it over to where I want it. And then the egg shape kind of has a circle. At the tail end of that ellipse. Connect that arc. Well, I don't want a straight line there. There we go. Connect that arc, and then I can start filling this in. And we should have our egg shape. And I think I'm going to tilt it a little bit because it's not exactly flat. Okay. Now I'm going to add a layer and a clipping mask. So the clipping mask allows me to draw anywhere on the layer, but it's only going to cover what's on the egg. So I think what I do is I'm gonna switch to a turpentine brush. I like that turpentine. First, I'm gonna start with the mid, kind of the darker tone actually. So the darker tone, brown. Let me grab it here and do a little bit lighter somewhere in there. Change the size and yeah, we're just gonna make it real messy. Not gonna be perfect. And then we're gonna come in and smudge it some later. And now it's a mid-tone, so we're gonna lighten that up. And come in here. And the light is coming from this direction. So the thing about lighting is it's gonna be really bright, and it's gonna be light, and it's really gonna fall off here at the last 10%. But the majority of the egg is going to be lighter tone. All right, and now that we have that, I'm going to go even lighter for the last part of the egg here. And also I notice up here, it's actually a little bit orange. So I'm going to try for that. Right here at the top. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to do the smudge tool, and I'm going to go with the airbrush on the smudge tool as well. And I'm just going to start smudging this so it blends my colors together. And the thing about smudge tool is whichever color you're pulling from it, it influences the layer there. So I didn't like as much orange, so I pulled in a little brown. I didn't like as much shadow there, pulled that in. All right. I like that pretty good. So now we need to do the shadows here. So I'm going to start another layer, and I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to start with this bottom shadow here, the cast shadow, and I'm going to make it darker. I'm going to do a soft texture brush, do the transparency, about like that. And then I'll come back here and clean it up. Actually, I'll just move it underneath here. All right, and then I have a cast shadow here, so I actually have a light on top, and I have a light coming from this direction because I have another shadow I see over here. So I'm gonna add one more layer. Less gray, more brown. Yeah, I like this one here. Okay, so I'm gonna up this size a little bit. Not too large. Gonna make a oval here. About like so. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Hopefully you found some of these tips or techniques useful in your painting process. You can use some of the tools and the shading. Let me know if you have any suggestions or comments or any other ideas for videos that I could make in the future. I'm going to be working on more shading and rendering in the near future, and make sure you subscribe so you can support the channel. And I can't wait to see you in another video coming up soon. I'll see you in the next one. See you next time.